How are you, folks? Enzo DiCostanzo, clinical professor of economics and finance, St. Peter's University. This is our fourth video in the net present value chapter. We're going to start with internal rate of return. So let's pick up where we left off yesterday and get going with the examples. Okay, we're at the internal rate of return piece of this. And it says, instead of calculating the present value, companies are prefer to ask whether the project return higher is higher or lower than the opportunity cost. Yeah, we've already done this, but certainly we were going to continue to work on this concept, this idea. This is sort of, we're officially looking at it now, type of a situation. And this this percentage here, this was the first return that we computed. But the first project was at 14%, and let's see if we can find that. Let's see. Actually, that may be the initial. Yeah, that's that initial. Yeah, looking at this, we computed it here. Yeah, this is the initial problem where you come in with 350, you leave with 400,000. What's your return? Yeah, that's not. We don't really use the numerical method for that. And but like I said, but that's what that is. So like I said, let's make that computation very quickly, and so you can move on with the notes. And we'll make this nice and big so we can hit everything all the time. So we're here equals. We're getting 400,000. We come in at 350. Right, and we divide, right? And I'll leave this because just my experience in teaching in economics and business schools is that this computation doesn't come as easily as maybe in the engineering areas that it comes into that area. What you're getting, what comes in, you find the difference, and you divide by your initial investment, and that's how you get the 14.29%. And like I said, you're comparing. Okay, so it's almost like artificial intelligence or human intelligence, where you compare between opportunities that are out there, just an index fund or whatever, who's Morgan Stanley's fixed income fund or something like that will give you 7% a year, but you can venture into more unique things. And certainly, the nature of this country's economy is to certainly go out there and figure out different things and do better than the 7% or 10% of the market generally returns by just existing in the American. That's basically the return of the American system of the American economic system, American economy. So we use treasury bills, opportunity cost, and again, the whole conversation is here. There's two rules for deciding whether to go ahead with the investment project: the NPV rule and the rate of return rule. And again, distinguishing between an accounting profit and you actually determining the annual return based on your entry dollar amount, your exit dollar amount, and all the cash flows in between. The rate of return rule is you're computing the actual rate of return of the project and comparing to some number. So like I said, for the accounting folks out there, and again, for the people who generally work in a cash system, these are a little more cerebral concepts than just I keep using the expression "money in the shoebox" kind of a thing. But again, having old school parents that I had, they're from old Europe, that seems to sum it up. So have the same cutoff point. Investments on the knife edge. When NPV was 0, also have a rate of return that's just equal to the cost of capital. We've said that numerous times. So a lot of these things we've already sort of talked about, and this we're just bringing this down. We can increase the decimal places like that. It says if R equals 14%, then the project is evenly balanced, which that means you're assuming the return is what you're actually getting. That's really what that means. Okay, so yeah. And again, just sort of, again, like I said, these are freshly cut models, so we're still reminding ourselves what we're doing here. But yeah, here's the formula with the 14.3. There it is. And let's see how we got this. Yeah, this was just the again. You're anticipating 400,000 down the road, right? And you can say equal to 400,000 divided by 1 plus that 14.9 to the first power, right? Yeah, there's your 350. And actually, this is going in. So you want to have the direction of, you want to put a direction on these numbers. You know, I learned in physics as a student, as a professor. You know, my first 10 years was learning in physics, and you know, the direction of things is very important. In electrical engineering, the direction of things is very important. I've really never studied too much mechanical engineering or taught mechanical engineering, but that certainly was also important. Outside of the classical mechanics I taught in physics when I was in the physics department at Rutgers in Newark, but you know, outside of that, you know, directions are important. So certainly, you know, keep that in mind. And again, this is the present value of that 400,000 a year later. And here's the NPV formula. Here's the sort of the theoretical form, the form of the actual numbers in it. Okay, so like I said, we were yesterday. I made a comment in one of the videos. We were fishing for an equation to fit to the points. But again, anytime you're dealing with a subject, you have to realize that, hey, you know, in this particular situation, the NPV. This is NPV as a function of R, and I've gotten out of the habit of writing like that, which is just showing, I guess, the number of years I've been out of the math department. But that is really how to do that. And actually, this piece of this, you could bring this up, and this could be to the -1 and multiply and all these other kinds of things. So yeah, and actually here, let's see if we can do that very quickly. Equals. Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to hit the format. Yeah, you got to get rid of the superscript next, right? Equals minus 350 3 plus 400,000, and then it's times 1 plus 14.3%. And now the exponent here to the -1, and get rid of it for the future, and just put a period sort of at the end of all that, just you know, to in the sentence. But yeah, okay, and this is obviously being multiplied, the 400 times that to that power. That's just assumed when it's next to it. It's assumed that's multiplying. So right, the treasury is not 7% but 14.3. Also projects also returns 4. Yeah. So again, it's the reasoning here. The rationale is, again, now I wouldn't want to live in a country where treasuries are yielding 15 or 14%. That's for sure. But you know, if that is the case and your project is also 14.3, then obviously you're flipping the coin. Are you going to just go with the instrument? Are you going to go with the real project, or the special situation, or what have you? Okay. And like I said, you guys can read through all the. I'm not going to verbatim just read off this Excel. I'm going to explain the math as we go, but certainly read through this. There's a lot of good stuff in here. The project making need a richer report, just worth what it costs. It's also a discount rate that would give the project 0 NPV. So the rate of return is the discount rate at which the NPV equals 0. So if the opportunity cost is less than the project rate of return, the NPV of your project is positive. If the cost of capital is greater than the project rate of return, the NPV is negative. So thus, for this accept or reject decision, the rate of return rule are equivalent. Yeah, and again, you're measuring percentages, you're measuring dollar amounts. But again, you have to get the accounting is the most important thing. But certainly, I'm saying it, probably for the 10th time. The NPV is not the profit margin or anything like that. Okay, it's how far you are away in dollars from your expected return, or what the actual return of the project is compared to what you expect it to be, or what you're giving up to do the project. Okay, and so there's also a discount rate given project NPV 0. Yeah, so again, so you're assuming that just repeats. You're assuming that your project rate and the opportunity cost are the same rate. Many cash flows. Certainly, it's not all going to just be we're coming in, then we're coming out. There could be cashes in between, and we saw an example of that last time. The usual agreement between the NPV and the internal rate rules, it should not be a surprise. Now, we had multiple proposals. I think the last problem we worked on the last video yesterday, we had multiple proposals, and all the rules pointed to, I think, the first one, even though it was more expensive, but all the rules point from an accounting perspective, from a percentage of return perspective, and from an NPV perspective, it checked all the boxes. So that's sort of the way to go when that happens. And always be happy when every sort of test gives you that kind of an outcome. And yeah, right, higher is not an end in itself. Project increase the value of the firm. A good rate of return is okay, but NPV offered would die young. Yeah, so right. So you could have something with a high return, but again, what's in terms of dollars. You can't pay for things with a percentage. You can pay for things with US dollars. So if you have a project that maybe the return isn't that high on an annual basis, but really piles the monthly cash in, that's how you want to look at things. Okay. All right. The next problem here, you're given a couple choices, and we'll look at the choices here. It says investment risk key safe. So yeah, I don't think we hit this column in class because we had a very fervent discussion in all my afternoon sections on MPV. So it took a little bit of time to sort of get through everything, but I remember people were very passionate, which is good, which is a healthy thing. And I'm happy to address questions in class, all the time. It's about what you guys want to learn. And people are saying, what's my big secret to succeeding in the classroom? And I think that's it. It's just sort of realizing that it's just not about Enzo Di Costanzo. It's about what you guys want to learn, but also me guiding you and saying that you can't just have it so watered down in a sense where it doesn't mean anything either. Those are just things you want to keep in mind. So this is a 7% return right here. Okay, and I think we rewrote it down here for whatever reason. Over here, that's opportunity cost is that. So a rich, friendly, slowly, some benefactors offering you to invest in. Yeah, so yeah, looking at this, you can invest $1 million in 2 opportunities. One of them is 300,000 annual return in dollars in Infinity, and the other is 2 million after a year, 100% return. Okay, and which one has the higher present value? Okay, so this is a very good problem, and we're going to look at that. And as you look again, I have them both sort of outlined here. Also, we're going to look at a profitability index, which hasn't really been officially introduced, but we're going to discuss how we compute a profitability indexes and things. But here, it's basically just this. It's a present value over the index. So again, know your accounting and understand all of that as you go along. Okay, but yeah, and again, you're looking at the returns, all that. And this is 8.3. For whatever reason, it's 8.3 and 8.5. And yeah, I think what happened was it asked for the profitability index at some other point. I think that's why we threw it in there. So, okay, like I said, but we're going to resolve these now. 7%. So let's clear this out. Okay, so this is $1 million of your capital goes in right there, and allegedly you're getting 2 million out. And folks, I'm telling you, people get very sort of bored with stock markets and bored with just the cookie cutter approaches to everything, and they want something exciting and something in the Middle East and something here and something there. And people will say all sorts of things to have you just hand over the capital to them. And you got to be very careful and aware of that there's all sorts of folks out there. Not everybody's licensed and certified, and especially if you're dealing with people maybe don't have college or didn't finish college, or there's some hokey story about college where they went to this school or that school and they graduated from another one and whatever. If that story gets too complicated, where you went to school and what your degree is in, but it's really from somewhere else and all these other things, you want to stay away from that level. I can say I went to NJIT, graduated these years. I went to Fordham, graduated those years. I went to Queens College, graduated this year, and clear, cut and dry, all of that, and you want that. So, okay, and you're coming in with $1 million, and again, you're foregoing, the market giving you yielding you 7%, and that 2 million is being claimed that the allegations that you're going to get that in a year is really worth 1.8 million today. So if you're coming in at $1 million, you're coming in at about 800,000 less than really what it's worth. And the question would be, why is someone offering you something for $1 million that really is valued at almost at about $1.8 million? Those, you want to ask those questions when you encounter these kinds of deals, that type of thing. Okay, and this is, we usually make our summation here. Okay, and that's just that one. This one, I think we use the PV function equals negative PV parenthesis rate a year. No payment. You could use, for this situation, use payment or future value, all the same thing, and 2 million, which is there. And the next piece of this would be equal to this thing divided by that, right, over that. Okay, which is that one. Okay, so like I said, all those came out to the same number, which you're happy about. The NPV is the present value plus the negative of this. So again, the net of this is, you have to remember, no one's just handing you 1.8 million for nothing. You've got to come in with X capital, and people will allegedly, through trading or through some sort of investment, will turn it into double that, in a year, which is going to be quite a good trick. Generally, these are banking maneuvers, moving money around balance sheets for various reasons, and I'll leave it at that. But the net present value of this, again, how far away you are from what it's really worth, is about $870,000. Okay, so if you're coming in at $1 million, you're about $870,000 below what this is really worth. That's the valuation. Okay, that's really what it is. Another version of this is NPV parenthesis, the rate is 7. You have a cash flow, and then you're going to add the first piece of that, which is right there. Okay, $869,000. All right, which is that. Okay, and then you're going to do now. This is probably what that other question is about. The profitability index is simply the NPV divided by the negative of the initial investment, and there's your profitability index. I'm not saying profit margin. Again, because it's not really the profit margin from an accounting. That's why we're calling it something else. We have a different term. Profit margin is the earnings over the revenue. That's a profit margin. Okay, and that's not what this is. This is over the investment. So you could say it's return on investment, return on equity, return on capital. And it's how you define all of that stuff too. Sure, the CFA exam has what it has in the respect of that, but you need to define what divided by what. And you have to understand, what all that is. That's really important. This other piece, this was the present value divided by what, and look at how it's off by 1, if you notice that, right? This one, yeah, this one is this NPV over investment. This one is present value over investment. So slightly different. Okay, and you can see, so it's an index. Okay, it's not so much a percentage. It's not 86% profit margin. It's nothing like that. Okay, so you did that one. The next piece of this, we'll do the other version of this. This, again, you got to come in with negative $1 million, and allegedly you're going to be getting $300,000 per year. Okay, you're getting something like that. Now the math is going to be a little bit different, and we'll go over here just to make sure we're using the correct formula. It's not just the 300,000 over 1 plus R. Again, I used to teach the calculus course where we proved all this stuff. That's not really what we're doing in the corporate finance course. We're just sort of using the formulas sort of as they are. It's going to be the annual number divided by the rate. Okay, almost like an endowment works. So this would be equal to the 300,000 divided by the 7%. Okay, and so this is 300,000 a year in perpetuity at 7%. It would need about $4 million. They need to do $4 million. $4.2 million, $4.3 million sitting there, earning 7% to knock off 300,000 a year. That's what you need. So so the million coming in there is very low. And my question would be, you need 4 million, 4.3 million. How are you doing this with just $1 million? That would be my question to these guys. And I'm telling you, these guys, they're out there. You got to be really careful with this whole thing of how everything happens. So yeah, these are just we didn't need to use we didn't really need to use, or we can't use the present value function or any of those kinds of things with this, or could we? I'm just trying to think how that would work. Well, let's see. Copy again, folks. When you're pulling something out of the garage sort of for the first time. The rate, 7%. Yeah, this would be infinity. Or I don't know, can you put like a big number in there, like $1 million? Payments are there, and this thing is 0. Let's see what that does for us. Million, or 1,000. Yeah, it worked. We just put a high number in there. We put 1,000 years in. Again, that's the math in me. right? So you can make it 1,000 years. So yeah, I gotta add that into my version of it here. Okay, so like I said, so I always, this is why I love doing what I do. I've looked at the number of times I've taught these courses. I've taught corporate finance at St. Peter's about 10 times, you know, a big number of times, and it's me, you know, still hit by how new stuff can be all the time with it. But yeah, there it is with using the Excel function. So yeah, that worked. Okay, that's all well and good. And this other version of this was we just did the math again. So this was just this thing, the rates divided by the 7%. Okay, which is right there. Okay, the NPV is the present value plus the money that came in. And again, you're about a good 3.3 million above what it's really worth. That's really what that says. How far away from the value of it are you? You know, in the nominal dollar situation that you're in. This is just simply this. This comes. You got to be careful. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Again, it's an index. It's not 300% return. We're actually looking at this. It's about your 300. The value is your 300% below the value. You could say it like that if you want. And this other piece of this was just simply, yeah. Okay, and again, this is what you come in with. There you go. And you're one above the next piece. That's present value over the investment. Okay. Yeah, which is that. And we have the formulas here. And the wonderful thing about this particular problem is solving for these. You don't need that complicated numerical method process or the procedure. You can just solve this because it's just one equation, one unknown. You can just solve for the rate. That's all you're really doing. So here, you're just solving for this IRR. Yeah, this is just equal to 2 million divided by a negative million. It's that minus 1. And that's just 100%. So we did it here. Yep. Plus a negative 1. This would be equal to 300,000 divided by negative a million. That's it. Yeah, that's 30%. That's all that is. That's all you have with that one. And this was, the first one. Okay, we used the appropriate. There you go. There's your returns. So the first one is you have 100% return. The next one is a 30% return. But again, obviously the NPV, what you're coming at, the bargain, so to speak, or your discount is way higher here, even though it's a lower return percentage-wise, but it's a much better annual. What you're coming in, you're getting something that's worth 4 million. You're getting it for $1 million, so you're 3 million below what it's really worth. So again, you make the decision as to what's more important to you. But again, the other one's just a one-shot deal also. The second one's going to add to your wealth for a much longer time. And if you really look at this, just nominally looking at this, you're making $1 million here. Let's be realistic. All right, here, whoops, and this other piece of this here, 3 years later, you'll have $1 million, and and then it'll keep going. So this one may be the better one. Okay, but that's how we looked at that one. There's another one here. And again, we're not, so yesterday we knocked off section 8.1, net present value of a project. This time we're calculating internal rate of return of a project and to know what to look out for when using internal rate of return. And then we have these other, these 3 other sections that we're going to look at as we go through this. So 8.1 we took care of with 3 videos yesterday. We're up to 8.2. And again, I use the stuff that's in the sections a lot. We actually went over a lot of the 8, because if you look at this is just a $25,000 year project. We already computed a lot of this yesterday, so we've seen it. And here's we have the curve, the NPV profile, and again where it hits the x-axis. And once again, I said it to you the other day, and I'll say it again. That's not a scenario curve. Okay, there's only really one point, the point of where IRR creates NPV of 0. That's what I'll be on space where that's really important. Okay, so let's go through this. So 8.1 we took care of with 3 videos yesterday. We're up to 8.2. And again, we're not, so yesterday we knocked off a lot of the 8, because if you look at this is just a $25,000 year project. We already computed a lot of this yesterday, so we've seen it. And here's we have the curve, the NPV profile, and again where it hits the x-axis. And once again, that's not a scenario curve. Okay, there's only really one point, the point of where IRR creates NPV of 0. That's what I'll be on space where that's really important. And here we have a couple of these curves sitting there. We already did this. So yeah, we're already sort of into this. And yeah, here's the self-test that we just worked on just now with the 2 million and the 300,000, all that stuff. We just did that one. Yeah, 8.4 is, let's see. We didn't work on this. It says we draw 8.3. Yeah. Yeah, there's more self-tests that we're going to work on, and that's all well and good, and we'll do that. So we're here with this. We have payback rules. We have all sorts of things to look at. This is, yeah, we're changing one of the cash flows in the problem from yesterday, where you come in with 375 as opposed to 350 or 355. You're coming in with 375 this time. So yeah, if you look here, it's the same problem from yesterday. And we're going to recompute IRR. We're going to recompute NPV. We're going to have another curve here. So yeah, and you click on this. It's those. Okay, so we're going to redo yesterday's, which is fine, and we're good to do that. And this was actually, and we worked on this. This is the point of intersection. We took care of that. And then we have 8.4 and 8.5, which are down here. And then you have, that's okay. We have about 3 more. So we might just do one long one today, just looking at sort of what's before us, because we have a little bit of repeats in here, and we've done some of these graphings before, that kind of a thing. But yeah, okay. So that's what this is. So what happens here is you have a little bit of a change in the price of the building. Yesterday's was 450, now it's 395. You know, that type of a thing. Okay, but that's what's different. Okay, so we're here with this 8.2. There's 7%, which is right there. So yeah, so what we're doing is, now again, here's how you have to really have some good accounting skills. All it says in this particular self-test is you're changing the cash flow in the 3rd year. And folks, I sort of have to apologize a bit. I'm using the 8th edition as the online, as the PDF of the book. Well, here, no, it's the same one here. My hard copies, the 9th edition, there's little changes, little differences. We did the stock valuation chapter, one of my other classes, and there were slight changes in the textbook. But here, yeah, so self-test here, it says we're changing the year 3 to 420. You're still getting the 25. But what's different is you're not selling out at 450 anymore, whatever it was before. It's selling out a little bit of a lower number. Okay, that's really what's happening with this. Yeah, this is the King Cole problem. So yeah, we're here with this. Okay, we're at this particular self-test. That's PDF 245. Like I said, so always keep up with the book as we go along. Now we're still, because I don't know if you guys recall from the description from yesterday, we got to remodel the entryway of the building or something to enhance it for the people who are going to rent it out for us. And you're still getting the 25,000, the 3 cash flows, but what's different is you're selling out not at 450 or 400, but you're selling out at 395. Okay, that's what's different about this. Yeah, the forecasted sale price of the building. Okay. Okay, so we got rid of the graying in there, and now we're looking at this opportunity cost capital 7%. So let's clear this whole thing out. This is equal to this divided by parenthesis 1 plus the 7%, and there's that. Okay, that's 20. That's worth 23,000. Control D. F4 was in there. There's this. Okay, so we have all those pieces there. So there's your 23 right there. There's your 21. There's your 20. There's your 322. Okay, so we have all those pieces, as we go. Okay, so looking at that, a year out, the 25s are 23. A year out, the 22 years out, the 25s are 21. 3 years out, the 25s are 20. Then 4 years out, 3 years out, the sale prices were 322 at 7%. Okay, you come to the middle piece here. Equal sum parentheses. This whole collection of cash flows worth $388,000. Okay, and if it's worth that, and you're coming at 375, you're going to ask yourself, and again, and I was a little surprised in class. I asked that question. I got a little bit of silence and the wrong answer a number of times. If something's worth $388,000, you're coming at $375,000. Do you want to do that? And obviously, it's yes, because it's less than the 388. But again, I was a little shocked that I didn't get that answer resoundingly in class when I'd asked it. So, like I said, I just realized that. Okay, so you're here. This is using this is using the PV. Is what this was. Yeah, this is using the, now with this one. Yeah, no, you're gonna be able to watch equals PV. Oops, PV. Parenthesis. A rate. 7%. This is 3 years. 325,000 on your payments, and then 395. There's your 388.45. Okay. And then the brutal NJIT sort of version of this, we're going to take this, multiply by parenthesis 1 divided by the 7%. Yeah, we're using the summation formula. Right, which is right there. Okay, and all those. That takes care of all your 25,000, and then plus parenthesis your 395, 7%, and this is 3 years. Which is right there. Okay. Do all those. But yeah, so like I said, we did this sort of just programming in one cell version of that. We'll just sort of leave that up there for a second. You guys can just take a look at that. But there's the, so this is the annuity present value formula. You could just say 25 over 1 plus R to the first, 25 over 1 plus R to the second, 25,000 1 plus R to the third. You could do that too, and that would work. That would give you the same. It should give you the same answer. Okay, but it's right there. You guys can pause this and take a look at it. Like I said, I don't remember to stop at many of these. I just go with these things. I need to remember to stop in my tracks a bit. Okay, the NPV is just simply the present value plus what you come in with, right? And that should be, yeah, that's NPV is 13. And then here we're using NPV parenthesis. We have the rate, and then you have all your cash flows. Now with this one, the last one, you got to be careful. Last one, you're summing two of these, right? Oops, and we forgot to do, we forgot to add in the initial payment. There it is. Okay, they both came out to 13 using the NPV formula. Because the last year I separated the components of that last cash flow, but you got to put them back together. Okay, which is that. So yeah, so this changed, and the NPV has changed now, and you could start comparing, saying, okay, well, just from an NPV perspective, yeah, I don't know why I didn't highlight these, but yeah, just from an NPV perspective, compared to the one just sort of right across the board here, you're down to 13,000, right? That's a big, that 50,000 that came off the price there. That's a big change. You know, an NPV of 57, now you have an NPV of 13. We're going to examine the returns and see what the returns are going to look like. We'll look at that, and those are also probably going to depreciate a bit. And this may not be as appealing. And this is from a mathematical perspective why people are so concerned. If real estate prices start to decline, what you can exit some of your properties at, because those things are very liquid generally. Even though obviously houses are bought and sold, property bought and sold, but it doesn't happen in a day, and it could take a couple months. And if you're not happy with the price, you could be waiting on the market for a long time. So it's not like just digging your hand into your pocket and pulling out $10 to go to McDonald's and you have it, right? There's a lot of complexity, and there's an attorney involved, and all these details of converting the property to something liquid. So that's something to keep in mind. Like I said, we're going to make a graph of this thing, but yeah. So let's do let's compute the IRR, which is the next piece of this. And like I said, so certainly just comparing it to the previous example, the NPV was 58,000. Now we're down to about 13, and now we're going to look at how what the IRR looks like. So this is 0%, which is right there, equals this thing, plus 1%, which is right there. And you can go through the whole piece of this. Okay. And again, for some reason, I put 50,000 down here. I don't know. You know, I think I tried to find out if it was negative or not. Doing that, I think that's why we did that. Okay. And yeah, like I said, you got to be careful with what's next with this. That you're dividing by this R, and if it's 0, that could be a little thorn. But here we're going to go old school with the NPV. So we're going to look at it like this, just so we can include the 0. We're going to say equals 375 plus parenthesis these 25s a bunch of different times. And this is 1 divided by 1 plus that rate. And this is to the first power. And you're going to close the parenthesis because we want to repeat some things a bit. Right? Copy instead of just retyping it a bunch of different times. Plus, there it is. And what you're going to do, the R is going to move, but this is going to be 161. It'll be 162. Right? All those 25s, and you're still not done. You still have this 395 at the end, and that's 1 plus S170, and that's going to vary. And you have a 3, you're going to lock that, and actually you need to lock the numerator. Okay. And then here you put a parenthesis. There it is. Okay, Control D. It was 81, and you go all the way down with this thing. Yep. Okay. And obviously, if you look at this, you want to determine when you get in the negative area. Now, how negative you can tolerate this. You know, if you're below 8% somewhere, and which means you're overpaying for this. And you know, then the question is how much are you overpaying and all that. So and like I said, the deceptive thing here is that the IRR, the rate seems to be going higher, and you perceive that as good, but that's just a paradox. It's not really economically helping you. That's just how the equation behaves. Really, is what it is. So, but yeah, so we're here. I'm just adding in little things as we go along ourselves to make a little change, just to remind myself what we're doing here. This is going to be 8%. We're starting at 8%, and now your new change here is going to it's not going to be a percent. It's 1 divided by 10. You know, 1/10 of a percent, right? All the way up to 9. Right there, and then you do the same formula. And we said that we were using. Let's just do formulas here. We said that we were using the MP. We didn't. We just did it the NJIT way. We just computed it, the Rutgers Newark Math Department version of that. And once again, you want to determine when things change, right? When it goes from plus to minus, type of thing. When this is you're coming in at a better beneficial number. You're coming in at a number that's $1,000 less than beneficial. And somewhere again, 8.3, 8.4. And again, I must have gotten tired when I was doing these recordings. I left out all the highlighting. And now, instead of examining between 8 and 9%, instead of examining between 8.3 and 8.4, or I'm sorry, 8 and 9, now you're going to be examining between 8.3 and 8.4%. And again, you take these two, copy in here, and this is just pasting the formulas in, and that's it. And this is, you're going to copy, paste. You're in here. Control D. In there. Right, in there. And now, again, looking at this, and you got to be careful. When you're right at the top edge of these, it could cause a little confusion as to what exactly that you're really trying to do here. Yeah, 3 and 4. Yeah, I think these are okay. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I have 8.38 there for some obscene reason. I don't know why. Oh, even though I have all the same numbers here. Let's see how that happened. Yeah. Why is that? That was a mistake or something like that. So again, I must have been tired when I did this or something. It's really 8.3. Now let's see how the IRR change. So this is 245. So yeah, let's just run to the back of the book for a second. Yeah, 8.3. Yeah, so there it is, 8.3. So I couldn't tell you what exactly happened there, but yeah, it reaches 8.3, equals to 0. Yeah, okay. That's what, yeah, so who knows what happened there, but that's the answer. It's like I said, we're taking this out and running it around the block a bit. So, like I said, because the online course was coming on, and I wanted to do this chapter, so we sort of wanted to get this out the door. But and this is a good chapter. This is important for real estate and important for a lot of different areas. And save that. Okay, so you have that, and yeah, it's between 8 and 9, sure. Okay, and yeah, and once again, now you're gonna graph this curve again. Let's. It's the same thing, but let's just do it again. So you're graphing the whole story here, right? Insert. It's good you see it again. Insert scatter like that, which just sort of interpolation. Every 2 points has a connector. There's your chart layout. Okay, layout, grid lines. Even though I've been traditionally getting rid of them, I'm starting to ask myself why I'm doing that, kind of, because they are kind of useful. I should thin them out a bit once in a while. But we'll do that another time. So yeah, so again, you picked just the first from 0 to 20%. You made a graph of the NPV, the net present value profile curve. Okay, and you don't want all these diamonds. You don't want all that. So data series, marker option, built in, make them round, make them a bit smaller, and line color. I made it purple. So let's make it purple here, and let's do marker, fill, solid, purple. Make these things purple. Okay. So yeah, and actually you can see there's still a little bit blue. So there's a third thing you got to do. You got to right click, and you got to do outline purple. And really there. So there's a line, a marker, and then the outline of the marker. So you have about 3 things to deal with on that. That just sort of how that all goes. Okay, and actually what we could do is we could just sort of drop this because we're done with the grabbing the data. Now we're just formatting here. Yeah, we could just type that in. You start copying and pasting things. It gets a little. It could get a little out of control sometimes. But there you go. There's your curve. You click on it, and it highlights the X and the Y, the rate and the NPV, what those things are. And we can always come in here, and this is X-axis, Y-axis, that stuff. Center, maybe make it a little bit smaller, like a 10 or something like that. Yeah, save it. Okay, so when you made a graph, where everything came from. I'm going to copy this if we can. Control copy. Let's see what it does for us. Yeah, okay, it did it. This is, we want this to be like 14 or so or something like that. Yeah, there we go. So I just copy and paste. So I did do a little of the work that I was dreading a bit and took care of that myself. Right click here, format these axes. It's no longer, you don't want 5%, you want 1%. Okay, alignment, you can do maybe -55, something like that. Okay. I don't seem to have font here. But what I can do, I can right click on these and just go right to font. and maybe make it a 9. I've noticed doing that is a little bit easier on the eyes. It doesn't; those things don't pop out as much. The axis. This is discount rate percentage. Okay, which is right there. This is net present value USD. All right, we have that. All right. And this is just simply NPV profile is all this is, the NPV profile. And then we have a box with the IRR. Actually, looking at this shouldn't just be, it should be right in the middle of the box. Yeah. Oh, we got to change that. That's 3, right? 3. Yeah. So good. I made a couple edits of this for my in-class version, which is good. Okay. So we did all those. And like I said, we threw this in here just to sort of play with this, but that's we can leave that sort of as is. I want an outline of this thing. Watercolor solid. There's your line right there. Fill solid. There's a fill right there. We like a shadow. Oh, close. Okay. And right click, select, edit. This is NPV profile. Oops. Why we moved so much I do not know, but went to the end of something for some reason. But these things can move around a bit on you. NPV profile. Yeah. Okay. And here we'll do this. We're going to click on this thing, copy, paste, undo. That didn't work. I was trying to make the work a little quicker by doing it like that. It didn't help. So there's the box right there, and this is IRR 8.30%. Bold, center. Okay. And we'll click on this thing, the fill. I want a white fill on that, and I want a border. Purple border. There we go. We got this. Okay. So a nice little box right there. Everything's centered, and yeah, you got to explain your graphs. Okay, that's going to help you in meetings and things, and because the attention span sometimes may not be what you think it is. Okay, so it's 95,000 apparently at a 0 rate. Let's see. I don't know, 95,000. Let's see. Is that just the accounting? Yeah. That's just the accounting profit. It's got to be black. Yeah, that's just simply the accounting profit. Insert. Yeah, because that's the nominal profit, right? Just the numbers moving around without really saying what the economic worth of those dollars are. And that hits right there. Okay, that hits right there. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Okay, there's your, now again, this thing, it's good we had a day in between all this stuff. And so we sort of were able to, let it ferment a bit last night, right? All of us, I hope. We were able to let it ferment last night and came back again at it today. Now, like I said, we're striving just in sort of one video today to just get the whole second column done here. There's internal rate of return, and I should put more. I don't know why like these things are colliding with each other. I should have way more space in between my panels of notes. Okay, we'll work on that in the future. This was yesterday where we had the point of intersection, so we already worked on this, and now there's another benefactor problem here, and then there's the multiple rate of return thing. Yeah, there's 2 more to go. So I think we can knock these out, like I said, just in one video. And if it takes a couple, what it takes to do. So yeah, we're back to this. So for, and yeah, we looked at a profitability index. And did we have that up top? I think we did that already. Right? Didn't we do that? Yeah, we looked at the profitability indexes up here with Mr. Benefactor here, Benefactor, like from the Bugs Bunny cartoons. Most of you guys have no idea what that is, but that used to be the television entertainment for kids, long, long, long ago. Was Bugs Bunny, and there was a character in there called Ben E Factor. Ben first name, E middle initial, and then last name, and he was like giving money to the rabbit or something. But you guys can find that wherever it is, Warner Brothers or something. You guys can find that wherever it is. So yeah, here's another scheme. Okay, so yeah, we looked at. We were 244 last time. Yeah, so we did this one, A2. We did A3 here. We did this. And again, I use the PDF version uses 7.5%, but I use 7%. Not a big thing there. But here we go. Yeah, this is we're back to another one of these. And it says invest 1,000 today and quadruple the money in a year with no risk. Again, very sketchy. Anyone saying that to you, and then invest $1 million for a year, guaranteed 50%. I don't know if these guys are talking to people that I know, or I'm thinking of they could have been, because the investing community is a small world out there. So, or $1 million a year, guaranteed 50% return. And then again, the opportunity cost 7.5%. I think I use 7% in the book. So you got to be careful with those percentages. If it's 7 or 7.5, they messed with it. The guys messed with it a bit. The guys who wrote the book. We use 7. So once again, this has got to be 7.0. Okay, because that's what we used. And it's like I said, there's no such thing as a flawless. There's no such thing as a flawless version of this. So, and we have some other things here. We have modified internal rates of return. We have this incremental analysis. These are all appendix examples that I'm going to hit. We're going to go back to these at some point, okay? Because we really didn't hit them in class, and they're very, very cerebral topics. So we're going to don't be concerned if we're not going to skip this. We're not going to skip the incremental analysis. We're just going to go back to it. Now is not really the time to. You should read the whole chapter before we really go over those things. So yeah, we have the mining version of this, and this we did already, and then we have this thing, which we're going to do now. Another one of these, I'll say it like this, another one of these special situation versions here. Okay, so we'll look at this, and these numbers have nothing to do with this, so that's just another problem, and we'll deal with that. Okay, we're here. This is again, folks, these little details, changing it to 7 and all that stuff, you got to follow every little detail. It's not nothing, all these different details here. So just keep that in mind. So again, there's 2 more scenarios here that we're going to be analyzing. This time it says, oh, forget about the million. You just need 1,000. And I'll give you 4,000, on Tuesday. And once again, I'm thinking of these cartoons as a kid. There was a guy who kept wanting to pay someone on Tuesday for a hamburger today, kind of a thing. Is another. I don't know why these things were coming to me. Maybe because of the time of the day. It's the time of the day where when I was a kid, I was watching, a lot of these cartoons at the time of the day type of thing. So okay, so there's 1,000, 4,000. All right, so you give me 1,000, I'll quadruple it, right? And which those people, that's basically a 300% return type of thing. And again, let's sort of analyze the real value of all that. This is going to be 4,000 divided by 1 plus 7% a year out. Right? That's what it's really worth is 3,738. But somehow this guy is willing to take $1,000 for something that's worth about 3.5 times that amount. So yeah, which those people are out there, that's for sure. And here, let's just use equals negative PV parenthesis. Let's just use the whole piece of this. Okay. the payment, and then the future value is 4. And again, you got to keep your signs sort of straight. I don't like to have a valuation be negative, but certainly you know, this is worth 3,738. That's what the 4,000 at 7%. You know, in the rational world, that's what people earn. But folks, I'll tell you though, there are opportunities for these outsized gains, and people move. We have to have the relationships, and you got to be hooked into it, you know, to move money like that, you know. And it's there. Don't think that it's not, but it's just, you know, it's very very treacherous. You know, and you got to be so, and people, you know, and for every time someone does have an outsized return, you know, there's someone who did this and did that, and you know, cheated them out of money or something, and you know, did something, you know, somewhere far out someplace. So you just got to be aware of that. Like I tell my neighbors know what I do. And they're always looking to, oh, what should we do with the stock market and this, that. I would tell them, if you could just put something in fixed income and just be happy that you're beating inflation a little bit. If someone's offering 4 or 5%, let your neighbor triple his money or whatever, you know, because these things, there's oscillations and, you know, storage, unless you're a pro at it, you know, just sort of store your capital as best you can and have it earn a little bit. That's the best you could hope for. Okay, the next piece of this, you're coming in with 1,000, right? And then you're saying NPV, and the rate is 7, and you're looking at a 4,000 value, and that's it. Yeah. So that's about 2,738. And then you could do another version of this. You could say equals this, just plus, right? Your present value gives you that one. And once again, these indices, again, some of these are asking you for some of these indices. This is going to be equal to NPV divided by negative that number, 2.7. And this is equal to that divided by negative a bit more, right? This is the present, this is the, what is this thing? Present value over the investment, right? Because of the 3.7, 3.73, okay, which is all that. And then we have the formula here, and we're solving for IRR. So this would be equal to 4 over 1 minus 1, right? This would be the 4,000 divided by negative 1,000 minus 1. Yeah, 300%, which is in there. So that's what you're looking at for the 1 year. So part A, it's in a year. Okay, and invest $1 million, guaranteed. Now, yeah, so here's the next one. You know, this time, you know, a little bit higher echelon investment. You know, an extra 0, of course, and they're telling you a 50% return. Actually, with something like that, you should probably just compute it just to bone up on your skill a bit. Negative this times 1 plus 50%. Right? Yeah. Make it black. And okay. And but again, you want to really determine, you know, what is that really worth? Oops. What is this thing really worth? This is really worth at 7%, and for a year, right? It's really worth 1.4 million, right? But someone's saying, "Oh, we'll come in for $1 million, and we got you covered." You know, there's people who are out there engaged in this stuff, and you got to be so careful. And then, you know, from a theoretical point of view, what is this lending or borrowing, and you know, what does this all really mean? Certainly, when you lend, you want a high rate of return. When you borrow, you want a low rate of return. That kind of a thing. So when it rises, interest rates rise, the rate of return rule is reversed if it is less than the opportunity cost of capital. Yeah. So this is when if you're borrowing, this is going to be true. When you're less than, because obviously you want to borrow as low of an amount of money as possible. So that's really what that is. But yeah, like I said, that's a little more advanced. Like I said, if you guys are I'm waiting just to sort of figure out what I'm talking about here. Never mind getting into lending and all these other situations. So this is going to be equal to what you're getting. Yeah, you're getting 1.5. So you're getting the 1.5 here divided by 1 plus %, and you're a year out with that. Okay. This equals negative NPV parenthesis, the rate's 7, it's a year. There's not really a payment, but then your future value is the 1.5. There's your 1.4 million again with this thing, and this is using the Excel function, so we did all that. This is simply the present value plus what you came in with. All right, so that's 400. Again, what it's really worth, the net present value. So what that really means is, all those. So you're coming in at an advantage of 401,000, $402,000 of an advantage already, which means it's worth 402,000 more than you're proposing paying for, that you're nominally paying. That's really what that means. And this piece here, we're just going to copy and paste these guys. This is 0.49. Again, looking at this net present value over the investment, that kind of a computation. This, I think, this is just a summation here. Yeah. Just copy and paste that down from there. Whoops. Undo. Paste. Yep. That's a summation, which is right there. This is simply the present value over investment, and it's 1.419 times that, and this is just NPV parenthesis rates, cash flow. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but and then you come in with 1,000. Yep, 401. Okay, that's that. And like I said, we're going to send you these files. So, like I said, try to fill this stuff in on your own as best as you can, which I think would be very helpful and useful for you to do that. But and now once again, look at this. You can compare based on profitability indexes. You can compare based on NPV. You can compare based on the rates of return. Actually, this rate of return, we're going to figure this out right now. This is equal to this divided by negative that number plus -1. Right, that's about a 50% rate of return. But once again, looking at this here, this has a higher rate of return, but a very paltry number here. But also you're coming in with, you need more capital to start. So then say, to compare these, the ideal thing is to compare the same capital that you're coming in with. Not, you're already in the you could divide this by 1,000, and this one from an NPV beyond $401, this 2,700 type thing. This obviously better. It's better from an IRR. It's better if you're comparing. For every 1,000 of an investment, the NPV is 401. This NPV is 2,738 for every $1,000 of an investment. So you want those comparisons. But the IRR here is lower. The IRR here is higher. So you got to figure out what it is that you want to do, how much capital you have, and those kinds of things. Okay. So we went through a lot of these today. We have one more to go. This is a multiple rate of return problem, and this is a mining problem, which once again is near and dear to my heart because we spent a lot of time studying the oil and gas industries in the Middle East, years ago. And actually, if you just look at sort of the solution to this that I'm going to walk through with you for a bit here, you have multiple times that this is NPV is 0 and 3%, 25%. So we have, and here we didn't break it down to the NASA numbers where 3% was good enough and 25% was good enough type of a thing. We didn't break it up into more decimals than that. Okay. And there's another, like I said, what's linked onto here. There's another piece of this this modified internal rate of return. This is from the appendix, and we do something again here. But we'll discuss. We'll discuss this at some other time. but we had to refine, and like I said, it's good to revisit sort of the tougher problems. So, like I said, we're just going to do the first iteration of this, initially, which is, and again, looking, a big part of what you're going to do is, reading through these and sort of understanding, what exactly is going on, type of thing here. So, mine coal. The project requires an investment 210 and is to produce 125 million for the first 2 years, then 175 in years 3 and 4. But then it says the companies are obligated to reclaim the land. So I'm trying to wrap my mind around just the economics of what this all is. So you have the land and something, but well, it says reclaim land, but what's better is having to sort of rehabilitate it. Because if you already own the land, how are you reclaiming it? So I didn't really understand their perspective on this, unless they sold the land to someone for 210, mined it, got the cash flows, and they had to buy it back. That could be a scenario, or just the cleanup, the environmental cleanup, and hey, if you're operating in Africa, if you're operating in South America, if you're operating in the Middle East, and their environmental protection folks might not be at the same sort of ethical level that the American Department of Environmental Protection Agency works at, and who knows? You don't have to clean it up, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, and all that. So that's people sort of rub their hands together when they can get overseas sometimes, but that's sort of what happens. What can happen sometimes is there's a different set of rules a lot of the time. So anyway, if you're in mining or oil and gas, you have opportunities that are, because everybody needs gas. And look, these wars, the World War II and all this, were won and lost. And so many of the decisions, especially on Germany's part, and Japan, if you're running out of bullets and running out of fuel and running out of medicine to treat the wounded in warfare, I mean, how are you winning a war? And let's face it, the best policy tool. You hate to talk like this, but the best policy tool is your military, so to speak. And that's just how the world spins. And that's just sort of what it is. So, so there's ample. It's a whole different investing landscape when you're talking about oil and gas and energy and things of that nature. Okay, let's sketch out what we're doing here. Okay, so you've got to come in with minus 210 million. You're going to get 125, and then you're going to get 175, right? And then you're going to get, somehow you have an expenditure of 400 million, sort of at the end of all this. And once again, if you do your accounting sort of, I'm just trying to take it off up here a little bit. Yeah. If you just do your nominal accounting profit, what this all looks like sort of as a first run through, you're 200 million ahead, just nominal. It's 5 years, but you're not doing time value of money anything. All right, which is what that looks like. Okay, and you have some space down here and all that. Okay. And all we really care about here are NPVs and all these. I mean, you could just zip through it, right? But here, this is 0, so at 0, you're at 125 divided by 1 plus the 20%. You're going to lock that. Or exponents are here. Exponent moves, the cash flow moves, but the rate is locked. And just go the whole way down with this. All right, that seems to match. And then we'll copy here. We'll paste formula in there. Okay, just right in there. Okay, you're gonna take all of these, the whole thing. NPV, it's about 5 billion. Really, what it's not the 200 million, it's about 5 million, about $6 million is what this is all really looking at. Now, it looks like to do it sort of by hand, to do it sort of manual. This is all manual, but we did all of these. This is sort of the cleaner way to do it. But another version of this would be, equal this, right? The 210 plus. Let's do it like this, old school. We could use the summations, but this will work. once you have that, you say copy and paste. This goes to 356. This goes to 356. It's the same 20. Paste. 7, right? 7 and paste one more time. 58, right? 58 and paste again. And 359. All those. Yeah. You're 6 billion again. Like I said, reliable. You could use the summation formulas, then you have to discount back, and it's it's entangled. So we just sort of did it like that. Okay, and now what you're going to do next. You're starting at 0%, and we're going to go this thing plus 1%. All the way to 10. Copy all the way down. Alt HDF. Okay. We'll do the whole thing of this. And like I said, you can clean this up as you go. Save your work as you go, type of thing. Okay, and obviously I've given away just a little bit. This particular formula is going to have a couple sort of 0 points because you have this big negative at the end here. Okay, and now we need to do, and we sort of did it in here already, or we did it right. That'll work, but here, this one, yeah, we did it here. We need to take this and sort of work that. I just want to see how I did it here. Yeah, I mean here, just for the sake of how the time we're going to spend doing, we've already drafted those equations, so we know how to do them, but we'll do it like this. We're going to lock that first one plus NPV, parenthesis, rate, comma, value, comma, value, comma, value, comma, value. Those are, now, I don't know, do we have to go to the negative with this? I don't like that. I just remind myself how I did. Yeah, somehow I did this other version of this. Sort of stuck it in at the end somehow. And actually, the rate here, I clicked on that, but the rate's really this. Where this is locked, this is locked, this is locked, this is locked. We have to, I don't know if the negative, it probably would. I don't know why I'm not doing it, but we'll just do it like this. I did it like that before, plus the rate, and then the exponent is this, F4. Yeah, so minus 10 million. We'll go the whole way with this. All right. So we have all that. And we're seeing now, we're going from negative to plus here. We're going from plus to negative here. And actually, what I probably should have done, I could have had a few more of these just to make sure where we're headed, type of a thing. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so you have plus to minus minus. You have the 2 times it's going to hit in the 0 area. And we graph this thing. Yeah, we just graph this sort of as is here. And we'll do that next, like this, from 1 to 30. So we're going to say insert, scatter. Let's do the smoother version of this. Yeah, chart layout, the first version of it. But there you go. Okay, we'll put the legend up top. I don't want grid lines, none of that. Okay, that's what this should look like. And now you do all the, all your stuff with it. Yeah, this is the King Cole project. make it a little bigger to work on. Yeah, like I said, you have a whole other thing here. We'll work on the other. There's another version of this. We'll work on that. You know, it's funny. I think one of the hotels that we used to frequent in New York had the restaurant or the bar was called the King Cole Bar, and I think one of the movies from the 2000s was filmed in there. The Devil Wears Prada or something like that may have been filmed in that hotel. It's funny. So this is just very light fill. I want to shadow, which is right there. Okay, so we did all that, and for we decreased this, went by 3%, not 5%. So there are a few more of these, sitting in there. Alignment minus 55, something like that. Yeah, good. And then right click, and you guys have seen me do this before. With the font, just right click, font 9, a little bit smaller. Okay. Looking at here, this is great. Is in there. Okay, your discount rate, what the present value is. Again, I left some of the numbers here a little wide with this. Let's do these by let's move them a bit. Instead of 5 million, maybe 4 million, something like that. All right. Even 3, just to get a little more numbering in there. Yeah, even 2. How it looks, folks. How it looks is in the millions, right? Fine. We have all that. And once again, this thing probably should have been centered here and here. And we're going to bold that out. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to repeat that and get rid of these little diamonds, format the data series, marker option built in. Down to 3. Instead of 5 million down to 2 million. Yeah, a couple of them there, even because this is a little crunched in here, as opposed to that other one's a little more spread out. And this is net present value US dollars. This is net present value USD 0.000. Okay. At that, I think what we did here. We made it italics. I think we messed with the font a little bit. We made it 9 somehow. Yeah. Even the other ones are 10, so all in the same piece. This is NPV profile, so net present value profile. Okay. Again, I have no idea why it moves like that. We have our shadow going. We have everything labeled here. Let's bring the box in and do this. Copy. Paste. Yeah, got rid of all the formatting. Copy. It's the one we're working on. We'll paste in there, and we're going to deal with that in a second. Let's go to Insert, Shape, Text Box, fill it. Yeah, see, when you mess with these things, you lose them a bit. It's bad. You always do the outline if you could do it first. Nice blue, Nice fill. I'll do a nice white fill. There it is. Okay, so we can find this thing as to where it is and how we're working on it. Now this is going to come across like this. And we'll pull this out of there. Copy. Paste. There it is. Okay, so there you have that. You could fold it out. Center both orientations. We'll put it down there. Okay. Yeah, 25%. Yeah, so you have everything that you need with this. I'm going to change these colors here a bit. Give it a darker blue if we could do it. And the data series, the marker, fill, darker blue, took care of that. And same thing with the outline of these things. Whoops, one more time. There it is. All right, yeah, there you go. Okay, that's your mining project, and you have a couple of them. And once again, you know, it gets down to your economic knowledge, your scientific knowledge of what it is that you're working on, you know, those kinds of things. But there's the second column, all right, that we worked on today. So this we took a little bit more time, took a good hour and a half, I'm sure, if we look at the timer. We have profitability index coming next, and like I said, we left off a couple problems here. We left off the modified internal rate of return. We left off the incremental. We're going to get, you know, spend some time, read this, and we're going to get back to it. So don't be concerned that we forgot about it, or you're not going to get the benefit of learning about it. Where is that stuff? Yeah, right here. There's the incremental one. You know, you're going to learn how to do all this stuff. Oh wait, do I have some of it? Yeah, it looks like I have some of it worked out already, maybe unintentionally. You know, left some of it worked out. But we're going to explain this. You know, yeah, we didn't go. Actually, this all needs to be just sort of deleted. Yeah, because we didn't work on this. That's just an error on my part. We had it left, just sort of sitting there a bit. Okay, but we'll get to that. Yeah, that's the incremental. So I deleted those out because we didn't explain it. Okay, but let's definitely explain that. Make sure you save as you go. Okay, always remember to do that. But yeah, so on this thing, Control Save here, and there you go. There's the version. There's the NPV of this. You have a 3% return, a 25% return, and again, it's the nuance of the math that's really, you know, making those kinds of things happen. And but like I said, we're going to get to all this and haven't. Like I said, I apologize for that being sort of filled in. We didn't really, you know, want that filled in that way. So this was 166 and 25. So yeah, so look at this. This shows when the projects change, and you know how the projects change and all that stuff. And we're going to get into all of that. We'll get into the equations, and like I said, this is a bigger step than what we've done. So like I said, let's let it sort of simmer a little bit, and then we'll worry about it another time. So let me save this, and we'll top off the video. Okay, but like I said, you have a lot to do. You know, you read the first two sections of the chapter and go through what's mutually exclusive, what's independent, all those kinds of things. And like I said, try to start to figure out your conclusions too. Okay, but like I said here, this particular project, certainly with the cost of capital, if you're you know, one of the IRRs is a beneficial return and one of them isn't. Okay, so like I said, you have to go through and determine, you know, this accounting profit and this sort of finance number here, how far away you are from the, you know, how good of a deal it is. You're about $6 million ahead of what this is really worth, is really what it says. And like I said, I don't know why I didn't do present value on this, but I feel like I should slide over. I feel like we need that. I don't know why I didn't do it, but let's just see if we can do one of them. Yeah, sometimes when you make some of these moves, you wonder sort of why you do what you do sometimes. You know what it is? Because you have the negative in there. You know, that's really what it is. But here, let's work it. So we're going to say equal parenthesis 25 times 1 divided by 1 plus the 20%, 1, which is right there, plus, we'll do plus 1 to hold the place a bit. So yeah, We have that, and this will be under both of these. Paste to 6, and yeah, those are both the same. And what you can do, because that's for the both of these, yeah, you have that, right? Because that's up to 125 twice. And return, and then what you can do is you can sort of readjust all of that, copy and paste, and this is going to be 57 in here. This is 57. That's 58, right? Because that's the same number twice. And here's where it gets funny. Plus parenthesis. You have the 400, which is negative, divided by 1 plus the 20% exponent 5. And close that. Yeah. So even though there's a negative cash flow, but the present value of all that stuff is 215, and you're coming in at 210. So even with that negative at the end, it's still favorable, you know, in that particular, you know, manner. Okay, and this was just, yeah, those were all those. So this we could do like this. You can copy this, paste, and you can just do these like this and drag this up like that. Yeah, there's your 215 again. So again, as I'm doing more of these, you know, you always sort of, you know, you piece in different things as you go and say, oh, this is important. Like I said, you look at it again, and again, that's what I sort of love about teaching. Is there's always something. Myself, I've done this longer than the majority of your lifetimes that you guys have been around doing anything, and I always feel like there's something to learn from it, that's why I think that's what keeps me coming back to doing it. And I'll tell you, it's sort of the darkest time I think in sort of any of my lifetime is just the years I wasn't teaching. You know, I think there was a few years there where I stopped doing it for whatever reason, and I think that was something I should have done. You know, so looking back now, I'm certainly happy to have gotten back into it. But yeah, there's that, and we're just gonna do this one more time, as if it wasn't tough enough. Yeah, we'll do this just one more time. Parenthesis. This is this thing times parenthesis. Another one. 1 divided by 1 plus the rate exponent a year. Right, close that up. Yeah, from there, and we'll just sort of, like I said, I like doing this detailed stuff like this. And this is 56. If you have 2 of those, is what you've got. Okay. And then you do that whole story again. Instead of you know, sort of retyping all this stuff. You're in here. This is 57. Yeah. This is 57. 58. All those, and then the end plus parenthesis at 400 divided by 1 plus the rate again, and then you're at the 5. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so save that. Okay, so you have a few of those sort of floating around, and like I said, so we're going to get to that though. But that was, you know, this we could just shut that down. Yeah, that's mine, but yeah, here, right there. Okay, so like I said, so we'll and it's at the top. This top formula bar has it too. Okay, so like you see, it's off the screen almost, this thing. But again, I come from engineering, and we're used to these types of things. You know, five cash, you know, 5 is not a lot. Okay, so I think we did this in an hour and a half or so. Save this. Like I said, folks, I will send this to you guys so you guys can have it. But like I said, you should be reading the chapter and, you know, in front of these videos and just figuring out all this stuff. It's going to do nothing but help you. You know, everything is economics, you know, really. So it's some good economic learning here. You have the profitability index, more mutually exclusive problems. And yeah, I cut it all for you guys. I didn't give you all the problem templates. You're not going to do 40 problems, but we'll give you something where you can work on. Actually, up here, I just noticed this. We forgot to delete those. These are wherever they're from. So yeah, when I made the template the other day, I was probably a little tired. So I left a couple things in there. But yeah, here's the template as it is now. And like I said, and we'll get to this. We'll explain it. Let me shut this down. Okay, so folks, there you go. We spent another hour and a half today on internal rate of return, and you saw some of it yesterday. So you have 4 videos now. You have a good, I would say, 5 hours of videos to watch. You got a lot of stuff. So work on it. We'll talk to you soon.